What's going on, y'all? It's Jay Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video. It has been a pretty boring January to start the year battle rap wise, man. This point blank way to put it. You know what I'm saying? Not too much to talk on any events coming up for the most part. A little bit we saw Mook and Hitman was going back and forth, talking a little crazy. It'd be a great battle if anyone would be willing to pay their life savings for it. A little bit of other trash talk, battles dropping from the final exams card from URL, but there is only one card that's actually dropping announcements and looks like it's building towards an event happening, and that is UDubb's Rebirth card, which I'll have my whole predictions out for once that full card is out. But obviously big names in the lineup. They've already announced for the actual battles and matchups. B Magic versus Shotgun Shug, I am not mad at that. And then Sharon versus Danny Myers, they just announced one rounder was just going back to 2022 when they had the one rounder. So I'm assuming this is going to be a 3-round matchup. Not too mad at that either. Not the craziest, but not the worst by any means. It's top tier rec. And it just made me think how underappreciated UDubb is, man. I feel like there is some battles, obviously tons of battles that people know from UDubb, but I don't think they understand how many top tier matchups they put out there, man, in terms of just battles like K-Shine battling O-Red and JC, O-Red battling Hitman Holla, obviously battled Shine, Shug and DNA happen on there. And these are the more under the radar ones. Obviously, we're about to talk about some of the more notable battles here for the top 5 battles from UDubb. I'm going to start out with some honorable mentions that are on there for a various amount of reasons, and my top 5 is based mainly on battle quality and of course impact, because if anything, UDubb has some standout battles that are complete mega matches that are not only big to their landscape and where they are in battle rap, but some battles that quite literally change the history of battle rap as it goes on. So without further ado, let's hop right into the honorable mentions. So getting right into the honorable mentions, the first battle I want to talk about real quick, Pat Stay versus DNA from High Stakes 2. I had mentioned earlier DNA versus Shug, a battle that DNA clearly won on UDubb, and I have this as another battle. DNA pretty clearly won on UDubb. In the middle of all the NWX peak hype, High Stakes 2, I believe K-Shine versus J400 was on this card. If you remember for a while, DNA and K-Shine was damn near on every single... If they weren't battling together, they were battling somewhere on the card, in separate one-on-one matchups. But I thought DNA was great versus Pat. His first 2 rounds, I thought he won pretty clear. At a time that Pat, shout out to the late, great Pat Stay, man, RIP. He was in a little bit of dip this point in his career, but as you see, even in the third round of this battle, his third versus DNA is fantastic. I think there is some few people that give Pat this battle. Personally thought DNA pretty clearly won it 2-1, but either way, the lone Pat performance on UDubb that he was very good in. DNA showing that for the most part, he gave UDubb good work overall, and just a battle that I personally liked a lot and throwing the honorable mentions, man. Next is Math Hoffa versus Arsenal. Not only is Math's performance versus Ars one of his best personally, just in his career, I think it's really one of the better straight UDubb performances there is. Ars is okay in this battle for portions. One thing, we're going to talk about Ars a little, obviously, because it's UDubb, right? We're going to talk about quite a few Ars battles where he rapped long as hell. And listen, he owns the league, man. Do what you got to do what you want to do. But in a few Ars battles we're going to talk about, this man rapped a long goddamn time, round to round. And I think he's decent versus Math. He definitely has some ridiculousness. He does the CeeLo green. He's singing, fuck you, like CeeLo. Arsenal things. There's really no other way for me to categorize it. Good with numbers. I used to sleep in Math. Humongous pause at the time, which is hilarious because he immediately says, oh, y'all just didn't catch it. A little bit, it's not the worst Ars performance, but it's got its flaws versus a great Math, kind of a prime Math Hoffa performance. His second round is great. One of the better bar-for-bar maths you're going to find as well. Punching, but still angling, giving you that talk-to-him feel that Math really had in his prime. And for me, it's just a personal favorite and one of my battles that I remember most from UDubb. Next battle, we have Tay-Rock versus Arsenal. Another battle where Arsenal's got some pretty good moments, man. He is the NBA Jam one in this one. Obviously, for the most part, it's Arsenal. We're talking main event battles here. It is his league. But Tay-Rock is a great performance here on UDubb, and it's at a time that Tay-Rock hadn't done too much other work off of URL, like notable work. This was kind of the beginning of him doing some other league stuff, and it's kind of crazy to think, especially after the 2 years he just had, that at one point in time, there was kind of like a narrative of people saying like, oh, can Tay-Rock do it off URL? And now we've clearly seen the man's doing double-digit battles a year pretty much everywhere for the most part. outside of a couple key leagues that obviously would be he's still a URL artist, and there's leagues that are kind of like enemies to URL. We know what Rock represents, but I don't think there's any stage. I think it's stupid to think that there's a stage in the world that Tay-Rock can't rock, and this was just the beginning of that. Had him 3-0 over Arse, although Arse's first I believe is pretty good. But just a good performance and another notable battle. And then my last honorable mention, and yes, it is one more battle Arsenal is losing on his on his league, man. I gave John this critique in my last video, where I said he hadn't won a lot of his bullpen battles, like his main event bullpen battles, but rappers always say, man, it's hard to run an event and rap on the event, and it's proven here. My last honorable mention is actually the most viewed battle on the channel, and that is Charlie Clips versus Arsenal. It's 4.4 million views. It's by far the most viewed battle on the channel. Why is it not on the top 5? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It really isn't a good battle. It's not a good battle at all. It's a okay Clips around a prime Clips time, but even one of his more lackluster performances, I know the heartbeat rebuttal is a huge moment from this. But remember when I said Arsenal was rapping a long time in that earlier battle? There is no battle on UDubb that is more affected from Arsenal rapping forever than Clips versus Arsenal. Good God almighty, man. I mean, long rounds. And some of his more... some real content that's not really content. It's not too much going at Clips at times. I mean, there's times in battle rap where too many things get categorized as filler, but if some of this content that Arsenal have for Clips isn't filler, then I don't know what is. So I have to mention it because it's by far the most popular on here. Like I said, 4.4 million views, great accomplishment, but for me, not exactly the best battle. And with all that being said, we can now get into the top 5 battles from UDubb. And at number 5 here, first battle I want to mention is a straight bar fest, and that is Daylight versus B Magic. Like this battle, you're getting prime B Magic, and you're getting the start of some weird shit with Daylight. But at the start of Daylight doing antics, some of them were all right. And listen, you're not going to find a bigger Daylight critic than me. Some of the way he's handled his career. Some people think he's unbeatable when he's lost many a times with bars or without bars. But this is Daylight's Matrix antic, which he included some great rapping with, but for the most part was more in that comedy direction, while B Magic just has a straight, great B Magic 3-round performance. So overall, there is the way that people, I think, viewed this in real time is a little different because there's some that grade straight off entertainment factor. And with Daylight doing things like this that were really new and really out there, he was catching a lot of people off guard at first before it became a constant thing, and Daylight then threw away battle after battle doing all types of different antics. This was actually one of the ones I gotta admit went over pretty successfully. A battle that I personally got Magic winning. I think you could even debate he won at 30 for real, because I mean there's one guy that's battling a lot more directly than the other, and he's doing it great. It's not like it's a lackluster Magic, it's a great Magic, but it's good Daylight in here as well. First high stakes event was fucking amazing, as we're gonna talk about a few times over this list, and for me is one of those that sneaks in right there at number 5 for the top 5 battles. Then getting into number 4, one that may have been a little more impactful to that direct year too, is Tay-Rock versus Sharon. Now this is dead in the middle of Smack Killer Sharon, which is, when Sharon was having a suspicious record versus URL artist. I mean, Sharon was clearly beating legend after legend. And what's crazy is, like, a lot of these guys are pretty good versus Sharon, and Sharon's just, like, really that good in these battles. When you look at a battle like Suge and Sharon on the SM4 warm-up, Suge's pretty good in that battle, bro. Sharon is just better. K-Shine versus Sharon after the slap on Bullpen. Shine's pretty good in that battle. Sharon is just better. Geechee Gotti in 2018, I can't remember the league that was on. I know that had A-Ward and Mac Myron on it as well, but wins that battle. Him versus New Jersey Twerk could go on, and him versus Tay-Rock in 2017, the initial year of Champion of the Year. And the truth is, this is the battle. This battle right here is the reason that O-Red won Cody in 2017 over Tay-Rock. And Tay-Rock is really good. He wins the second of this battle, very clear. All the cracker flips and all that were fantastic. And even there's moments in his first and his third where he's good, but Sharon's first, great. His third, Free the Wave, man. Disappeared quicker than a Sioux Surf gun charge was a moment.
On Facebook, you apologized to Smack for taking this match. As a family man, you should never be sorry for making some cash. He posted, My loyalty's with Smack. No other league's worthy of these gun bars. Delete. Disappeared quicker than a sous-serve gun charge. You think...
And probably the bar that won him the battle at that even got a reaction out of Rock and Surf themselves. So, you know, it plays into a lot of things. It plays in that prime run of Sharon versus URL artist. Rock, once again, on UDubb, giving another really high-level performance. And then a battle that determined the initial Cody Award, which has now become the most prestigious individual award that we have in battle rap. And for me, all those reasons plus the battle quality is why it makes the list. And then from there, we can get into number 3. And number 3 is a real personal favorite. I love this battle with all my heart. And that is O-Red versus Calico. Now, we all know when we look at this, we think of Calico's third round. Cal, you've done enough. We think of all the comedy that goes with it, and this is a great Cal performance, which I talked about in my 2011 breakdown for Cal, breaking down that great year he had, historic year leading up to Lux, and all the clear victories he was getting. All those battles, one of the most competitive was O-Red, and people forget O-Red is fantastic in the first 2 rounds versus Calico. The Megatron Haymaker is probably that peak that some may remember, but overall, bar for bar, there's really even an argument that O-Red won the first 2 rounds of this battle. O-Red, for the most part, is a different beast on UDubb. Obviously, he lost clear to Hitman, and people only remember the Cal third. He lost to the same story twice. That's tough, but he's really, really good versus Cal, unlike the Hitman battle. And then he also battles Kayshawn, wins that battle clearly on the Arsenal and Lux card. And he also kind of smoked the shit out of T-Rex on UDubb as well. So people sleep on some of O-Red's accomplishments, man. But for me, great back and forth. I personally got Cal winning the battle 2-1, second and third. He's got the Rondo bar in the second. But you get great bar for bar. You get great storytelling and a bit of real talk and just straight flowing in there. Battle encompasses a lot of different things. And in terms of straight back and forths, one of my favorite by far from UDubb. And that leaves us with the top 2 battles. And these two are... Remember when I said UDubb had some game-changing, culture-shifting, history-shaping battles? These are both of these complete mega matches. And at the runner-up, I do have Hitman Holla versus Shotgun Suge as the main event of High Stakes 2. How long did it take to get this booked, man? A pure YouTube-era grudge match sparked from mainly just competitive going back and forth. Suge calling out... Hitman on Gnome, Hitman calling out Suge on Gnome, Suge calling out Hitman on SM, back and forth on big stages, all types of shots thrown at each other, almost booked, then it's unbooked, then it's on Guerrilla Warfare, then it's not on Guerrilla Warfare, then it might go to URL, it doesn't go to URL, finally lands on UDubb. And what's funny is I remember in real time, like every grudge match, whether it is good or bad, there's a lot of bad ones, people were underwhelmed with the product of this, and for me, I thought Hitman and Suge was great. And this is a time I wasn't exactly the biggest on Suge in terms of a competitive level in some of these better battles. 2015, great year of his career. I've covered that. 2016 was even good. But from 2017 to like 2020, but this was not like that. This was on the right side of the spectrum, man. I thought Suge was great. I think most people give Hitman the battle first and third. But I thought Suge was really good in the second round. He is the next person to bring up the D. I'm going to pause something, which I think is probably his best bar going against that Detroit angle, which came way later in his career. But what better time than at this point, the biggest battle of your career? They both perform amazing. Hitman has a Secret Admirer bar that's crazy.
You in your city. I ain't never scared. I'm everywhere. You ain't never there. Busta Rhymes, P. Diddy, Drake. I performed in front of them stars. Summer Madness 1, Summer Madness 2, 4. No, man, you a Secret Admirer. Your name wouldn't know none of them cards.
The Legally Blonde bar, I could go on and on. For me, I think it's one of those big-time grudge matches that really lived up to it. And even though most people give it to Hitman, I think it's a little bit more competitive than that. And, impact so many different reasons why it lands at number 2. That was the High Stakes 2 main event. And as for the number 1 battle here, the initial High Stakes, even if you barely know UDubb's catalog, you know this battle. And that is Lux versus Hollow. And not only is Lux versus Hollow so by far and away the best battle on UDubb, it really has a true case, of very few battles do in my opinion, of being the best battle in battle rap history. Lux vs. Hollow is god tier. It's prime god tier battle rappers going against each other. The perfect time for it. The approaches, the strategy of it, the pen of both of them still working, while Hollow with the sticky note, the whole way he set that up, very in line with his first round versus Clips in terms of perfect timing and use of crowd interaction. There's so many good things to say about this battle. I will be here too long talking in a circle about how fucking good Lux versus Hollow is. It is a classic of the highest orders. If we look up classic in the battle rap dictionary, it should just be a fucking picture of Lux versus Hollow. It's that good of a battle. Angles, bars, approaches, all that. And for me, is clearly this and Hitman and Suge just goes to show at UDubb's peak, they were booking some of the absolute biggest battles in battle rap at the time. Then that's mentioned all the honorable mentions here, and not even mentioning battles like Ars versus Rex, which was on its way to a classic before they changed venues. And the third is awful. The third of that battle is awful. From there, K Shine versus JC, his performance in that battle. B Magic versus Sharon, lower time limits, but I think a pretty slept on battle for the most part. I thought it was pretty good. So much different work from so many different people, man. I think UDubb at its peak is given like top 5 league all time type of peaks, and they went away for a little, but hopefully with this rebirth, we're working back because although the league went away for a minute, the Ray Swag stuff comes out and all that, right? There's certain things that put a little bit of a halt and a speed bump in the road for UDubb's success. I think Arsenal has given us way more good than bad with UDubb for the most part. So many historic battles like the ones I brought up here. I'd love to hear y'all's opinions in the comments down below. What is your favorite UDubb battles? They can either be ones like Lux and Hollow, which we all know are super duper classics, but there could be some top tier rec that I didn't mention. I can't mention at all. There's so many battles, but there's some big battles here I didn't mention. I'd love to hear if it's some of y'all's favorites, man. But it's some J Small reviews again, y'all. When the full card is out, we'll be doing predictions and a recap for UDubb when its new card is done. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna catch you on the next one, man. Peace.